It's October 25th at 11:38 p.m. 2025, and the Mariners season just came to an end. The Mariners just lost a hard-fought series against the Toronto Blue Jays that they won the first two games of, lost the second two, won a game to go up 3-2, and then lost the final two games in Toronto in a Game 7 where the Mariners, unfortunately, did not play as well as they could have. The Mariners now stand again as the only team to never make the World Series. The Blue Jays have made their first World Series since 1993. So what I have here is the BREF screenshot of the Mariners, 90-72, first place AL West. Scheduling results right there. Postseason, it says we were tied in the AL Championship Series, but that's because that doesn't update till the next day. Won the AL Division Series. Manager was Dan Wilson, who went 90-72. And Dan went 6-6 in the playoffs, which his first time in the playoffs, I'm going to say that's okay. Mariners had 2,538,053. Multi-year had a pitcher's ballpark. 1 year was batting, pitching, both at 95. The Mariners' Pythagorean win-loss was 88-74, 766 runs to 694 runs allowed. Remember, Pythagorean runs is just simply a mathematical model to show how many teams a baseball team should win. The Mariners the Mariners toughed it out this season. They had a lot of injuries, they had a lot of things going on. I'm going to go ahead and look at the full season roster and appearances in just a second, okay? The Mariners used a total of 54 players. Randy Arozarena, Edward Bizardo, Ryan Bliss, Matt Brash, Juan Vargas, Dominic Canzone, Blas Castano, Jose Castillo, Luis Castillo, another Luis Castillo, J.P. Crawford, Jonathan Diaz, Logan Evans, Caleb Ferguson, Harry Ford, Brandon Garcia, Mitch Garver, Logan Gilbert, Jesse Hahn, Emerson Hancock, Luke Jackson, George Kirby, Jackson Carr, Sauron Lau, Casey Lawrence, Casey Legamina, Miles Masterboni, Bryce Miller, Dylan Moore, Andres Munoz, Josh Naylor, Jorge Polanco, Zach Pop, Cal Raleigh, Luke Rayleigh, Leo Rivas, Victor Robles. Julio Rodriguez, Gregory Santos, Taylor Saucedo, Colin Snyder, Donovan Solano, Gabe Spire, Eugenio Suarez, Leody Tavares, Troy Taylor, Samad Taylor, Rowdy Telez, Rylan Thomas, Trent Thornton, Carlos Vargas, Ben Williamson, Brian Wu, and Cole Young. The duo of Randy Arozarena and and Julio Rodriguez played in 160 games as batters. Cal Raleigh played in 159 games, and J.P. Crawford played in 157. Jorge Polanco played in 138. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Mariners players padded in over 100 games. Dylan Moore was sixth with 88. Gabe Spire had the most appearances as a pitcher with 76. And then obviously Bizardo, Vargas, Mooney, and we had several with 50. And we had one starter, Luis Castillo, make all of his starts this season. The Mariners heavily, heavily overachieved. The Mariners WRC plus as a team, the Mariners OPS plus as a team, all of those things. It's one of those things where the Mariners overachieved by a lot. And the reason they overachieved is because they had that star power. They had Cal, they had Jorge, they had Dylan Moore looked okay for a little while before he got DFA'd. They had a little bit of pop from Rowdy Telez. They had a little bit of pop from Donovan Solano. They had Eugenio Suarez for a little bit. But when you have so few players play 100 games in a season, you're not getting contributions 1 through 9 in the lineup every day. And unfortunately, in the playoffs, we didn't get contributions 1 through 9 in the lineup every day. And for a while, we didn't even get contributions from 1 in the lineup. Randy Arozarena batted under 200 this playoffs. Randy Arozarena is supposed to be one of the greatest playoff performers of all time, and unfortunately, he didn't show up. Knowing what I know now, based on the way that wins above replacement is there, Cal Raleigh had 7.7 BWAR, Julio had 5.8, Randy had 4.1, and JP had 4. And Jorge Polanco had 3, and Josh Naylor, in his limited time with us, in 210 plate appearances, had 1.7 to be sixth on the team. In his limited time with us, in his 220 plate appearances with us, Eugenio Suarez contributed 0.6. Everybody below Cole Young, point 0.4, had either 0 or negative wins above replacement for the Mariners. This year, the Mariners had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 players on the offensive side of the ball contribute positive wins above replacement. In terms of the defensive side of the ball, we're only going to look at pitching because pitching's honestly the one that you have to look at because it's just the way that things are. We had Brian Wu had 4.3. Mooney had 2.4. Castillo had 2.1. Logan had 2.1. Bizardo had 1.8. Gabe had 1.8. Brian Wu was the best pitcher for the Mariners this season. There's absolutely no doubt about it. In terms of that, we only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 of our 33 pitchers that appeared in a game for us this year had positive wins above replacement per BREF or BREF. That's not that's not how you run a team. But because the Mariners rotation was so strong and the Mariners team was so top heavy, relying on those home runs, the Mariners ended up having that happen. Overall, now I'm going to look at the team's overall statistics. So, the Mariners batting, they obviously played 162 games. They had 6,200 plate appearances, with 5,502 of them being at bats. They scored 766 runs on 1,345 hits, 234 doubles, 9 triples, 238 home runs. 734 of the 766 runs were driven in. They had 161 steals and were only caught stealing 37 times. There were 544 walks issued to the Mariners, and 900 or 890 more times they struck out at 1,446. It's batting average at 240, an on base of 320, a slug of 420, and OPS is 740 per BREF, OPS plus of 113. And they had 2,311 total bases, grounded into 102 double plays, were hit 89 times, sacrificed 24 times on the sac hit, and executed 38 sacrifice flies while being intentionally walked 29 times. I need to look at something from last year because last year it felt like we could not execute the sacrifice fly. And last year we executed the sac fly 34 times, but maybe it was the season before where we just could not execute the sacrifice fly. No, we had 37. In terms of standard pitching for the Mariners, though, the pitching was pretty interesting to see. They obviously played 162 games, 190, lost 72 for 556 winning percentage, an ERA of 3.87. Um, the Mariners did not have a complete game shutout this season. Wait, what? Mariners had 43 saves this season, pitched 1,462 and two-thirds innings, gave up 1,331 hits, 694 runs, 629 of them earned, 192 homers, and walked 454 while striking out 1,426 and hitting 74 batters, balking 3 times, 53 wild pitches, and they faced a total of 6,134 batters. An ERA plus of 98. So actually, according to BREF, the Mariners pitching staff was 2% worse than the league average, as ERA plus always equals out to 100. Yes, I'm a little bit disappointed that the Mariners are not making the World Series, but I don't think that this is a team that had a dream run and won't be able to recreate these things next year. There are going to be some changes made to the roster, and I trust after ownership made moves at the deadline that involved spending money and the fact that they did not keep Mitch Haniger on this team. I trust that the Mariners are going to go ahead and actually make some moves this offseason. Pete Alonso is a free agent first baseman. Josh Naylor, I think, wants to remain in Seattle. Ben Williamson, I think, has the ability to come up and play everyday third base. He provided us with Gold Glove level defense at third base. Victor Robles, if he remains healthy next season, he's a major upgrade over what we had in left field or in right field all this year. Randy Arozarena, I can see the Mariners being okay, hang on to him, or going ahead and trading him for somebody who's an impact bat or an impact member of the rotation or bullpen. I also do think that the Mariners, as Luis Castillo's no trade clause ends at the end of the year, may make a move in regards to that. Like I said, having only five players who played over 100 games, or six players who played over 100 games this season, is not going to work. The Mariners need to have everyday players and then platoon guys who they can bring in off the bench that pinch hit, not that come in for a handed matchup for a starter. What you need is a platoon guy who comes in. You need somebody. The Mariners have some pretty good pop at second base. Mariners, if they do the right thing at first base, I think they're set there with Naylor if they can bring him back. Unfortunately, I don't know if Josh Naylor is going to come back. If I were Josh Naylor, I would want to come back just simply due to the fact that this literally was the closest this was really close to winning a World Series. The Mariners should not bring Eugenio Suarez back. Yes, he's great for the vibes, but he's sixth all time in Major League Baseball in batting strikeouts. Mariners need to reduce strikeouts. Eugenio Suarez is a free agent, and because he hit 49 home runs, I do believe he's going to get a contract that is going to prove to be an albatross in free agency this season.